Nick Starr was a young man in his early 20s, stuck in a life that was boring and repetitive. Every day was the same routine, working, eating, and sleeping, repeatedly. He often wondered if there was more to life, something exciting or meaningful. One night, after another long day, Nick got on the last train home. The train was nearly empty, the dim lights flickering softly. As the wheels clicked against the tracks, Nick leaned back in his seat. "Just another dull day," he muttered before closing his eyes. The gentle motion of the train soon lulled him into a deep sleep. When he opened his eyes again, he froze in shock. The train he had known about was gone. Around him were tall buildings with shiny surfaces, floating vehicles zooming through the air, and bright, colorful lights everywhere. Where am I?" Nick whispered, his voice shaking. He stepped off the train slowly and looked around. People walked past him, dressed in glowing, futuristic clothing. He felt completely out of place. "This can't be real," he said to himself, rubbing his eyes. "Am I dreaming? Or did I travel to the future?" Nick's heart raced as questions flooded his mind. How did this happen? What is this place? How do I get back? Nick wandered through the unfamiliar streets, trying to stay calm. Everything felt so different, the air was cleaner, but there was a strange energy to it. Floating screens displayed messages in a language he did not understand, and small drones buzzed past him. "Excuse me," he called out to a man walking nearby. "Can you tell me where I am?" The man glanced at Nick but said nothing. He walked away quickly, leaving Nick feeling invisible and frustrated. Nick sighed and kept walking. Soon, he found a tall screen with a glowing map. The title read, "Welcome to Chrono City, the Nexus of Time." "Chrono City?" Nick said aloud. "Is this some kind of time travel city?" He reached out to touch the screen, but it did not respond. Suddenly, a voice behind him broke the silence. "You look lost." Nick turned around quickly and saw a woman standing there. She looked different from everyone else, her clothes were simple, more like something from his own time. "I am lost," Nick admitted. "I have no idea where I am or how I got here." The woman smiled gently. "You are not alone. I am in the same situation. My name is Emily." Nick felt a wave of relief. "I am Nick." "Thank you, Emily. I have been walking around feeling like I'm the only one here where I don't belong." Emily nodded. "We can figure this out together. 2 heads are better than 1, right?" Nick smiled for the first time since he arrived. "I would like that. Let us figure out how to get home." Nick and Emily explored Chrono City together, their partnership growing stronger with each step. "This place is incredible," Emily said, looking up at the glowing buildings. "But it's also so cold." Nick nodded. "It does not feel like a place for people, does it? Everything is so shiny and perfect, but there is no warmth." They tried talking to more people, but the citizens of Chrono City barely noticed them. "It's like they're robots," Emily said with a small laugh. "Do you think they're even human?" Nick shrugged. "I do not know. But I know one thing, we do not belong here. We need to find a way back." Their journey wasn't easy. The technology was confusing, and the city's rules did not make sense to them. One day, after hours of walking and trying to use a strange map, Nick sat down on a bench with a frustrated sigh. "I can't do this anymore," he said, running a hand through his hair. "It's too much." Emily sat next to him and smiled softly. "Hey, don't give up. We've made it this far, haven't we? We'll figure it out." Her words gave Nick the strength to keep going. Together, they explored the city, learning how to use its strange machines and finding clues about how to return to their own time. As they worked together, their bond grew stronger. One evening, as they rested under a glowing tree, Emily turned to Nick. "You know," she said, "I wouldn't have made it this far without you." Nick smiled. "Same here. I don't think I've ever trusted someone so quickly before." Finally, after many challenges, they found a way back to their time. When they stepped into the familiar streets, Nick took a deep breath. "We're home," he said, his voice full of emotion. Emily smiled, tears in her eyes. "I can't believe it. We really made it." Nick hugged her tightly. "We did it. Together." Back in the modern world, Emily quickly noticed how different life was. Nick's friends often talked about popular trends, technology, and social media, laughing and joking. Emily didn't understand much of what they said, and it made her feel left out. "Nick," she said one evening, "I feel like I don't belong here. Everything is so different." Nick took her hand and smiled gently. "It's okay. We'll figure it out together. Step by step, just like we did before." Nick made changes to his own life to help Emily adjust. He spent less time on his phone and planned simple activities for them to do together. "Let's go to the market," he said one morning. "We can cook dinner ourselves." Emily smiled. "I think I'm better at cooking than you," she teased. She also worked hard to adapt to the new world. She learned how to use a smartphone and joined modern social activities, even though it was awkward at first. "Nick," she said proudly one day, "I sent my first text message." Nick laughed and clapped his hands. "That's amazing. You're doing so well." Although the process was full of difficulties, they supported each other through it all. Over time, they learned to understand each other's differences and created a life that mixed old traditions with modern ideas. One evening, Emily looked at Nick and smiled. "Because of you, I feel like I finally belong here," she said softly. Nick smiled back. "And because of you, my life gets exciting again."